So I have some good news, and I have some bad news. The good news is that I finally saw Star Trek Into Darkness, and the bad news is that now you have to hear about it. But before I get into this movie and the reboot in general, I would like to preface this by saying that the point of this video is in no way to make you feel bad if you liked this movie. I said once on Twitter, find what you love and love it as much as you damn well please, even if other people think it's stupid, and I hold to that sentiment. So if you thought that the reboot was just the best thing ever and it made you super happy, good for you. I'm glad that you love it. But you might not want to watch the rest of this video. Now then, let's chat. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. So I watched an interview that Jon Stewart did with J.J. Abrams, and here's a direct quote from Abrams. "When I was a kid, I never liked Star Trek. My friends loved it, but it felt too philosophical for me. So the goal for this movie was to make a movie for moviegoers, not just Star Trek fans." Okay, just hold on a second. Why? So then Abrams continues on to say that he couldn't understand the philosophy in Star Trek, but his friends that were watching it were smarter than him, so they could understand it. So when he was put in charge of the reboot, he set out to make a movie that people like him could understand. Oh honey, it is the philosophy that sets Star Trek apart. Without it, Star Trek is just another half-assed space story. I mean, I would like to raise the point that the philosophy of Star Trek is literally just, humans are capable of creating a fair and just society, so we should do that shit. We can be better, so we should be better. That is literally it. It is the simplest philosophy. You don't have to have a PhD to understand that. But what upsets me the most is that you think that the reboot can still be Star Trek if you remove that. If you think that moviegoers want movies with huge firefights, then that's okay. You can have huge firefights and still have the movie be Star Trek. That's not my problem. But if the main point of the movie is the firefights, then you've done it wrong. The whole point of Star Trek is that there is this big, beautiful future that is waiting for us out there, with humans right smack in the center of it. The point of it is to give us hope that the future is better. But Star Trek Into Darkness didn't do that. It left me feeling like the future is going to be just as bad as the present, but there's going to be bigger guns and enormous starships plowing down half of San Francisco. I spent half of that movie thinking, if that's what the future is like, I don't want to be part of the future. And that's just wrong. I mean, that's not what Star Trek is supposed to be. I mean, I could complain about Spock, and believe me, I could make an entire other 4-minute video just complaining about Spock and the reboots. And I could scream about how this show was more diverse when it started 47 years ago than it is today in 2013. But at the core, my problem with the reboot is just that it has betrayed the very spirit of Star Trek. Even Pacific Rim, which is literally a movie about people punching aliens in the face with giant robots, gave me more hope about the future than a movie that is attached to the Star Trek franchise. And that is just horribly depressing. Saying that the reboot simplified Star Trek down into a form that everybody can understand is like saying that if you simplify feminism down into a form that everybody can understand, it equates to men are stupid, they are evil, and you have to hate them. Up with the matriarchy, crush the puny men! To be honest, J.J. Abrams, your audience is going to be as intelligent as you let them be. If you present them with the true spirit of Star Trek, that humans are made for more than just blowing each other up, that we are made to be explorers and people who can be envoys of peace, then they'll get it. If you presume that all that they can process and understand is black and white, good versus evil, enormous explosions, then, well, maybe that is all that they're going to be able to process. In conclusion, I refuse to accept that the reboot ever happened, except for Chris Pine, because Chris Pine is great. Now I'm gonna go watch Enterprise and remember why I love Star Trek so much. Live long and prosper. You know, let's not forget that Star Trek as envisioned was about space exploration, and it would be really wonderful to harness the spirit of that and apply it to the next film so that we do something different than a revenge-based picture. Carl Urban, my hero. Oh, and one side note, in the interest of fairness, yes, at the end of Into Darkness, they do tack on like 60 seconds at the end where they basically say, oh, well, we're gonna go off and we're gonna explore the universe and we're gonna get ourselves back on track, and that's great. I mean, it gives me hope for the next movie. And by gives me hope for the next movie, I mean that there's a chance that I'll actually go see the next movie. That's a lie. I mean, I knew that this movie was going to be bad and I still went to see it in theaters. But still, it doesn't redeem the past two movies because 60 seconds worth of hope isn't enough to balance out the carnage that preceded it. 60 seconds of something approaching the actual Star Trek philosophy isn't enough to redeem the movies. There are ways to create a darker alternative canon, but that was not it. J.J. Abrams, take notes. Say goodbye, Triple. We make a lovely couple. Okay.